So good morning, everyone. Talking about the shoe fire. Welcome back. It's gonna be a pretty quick one. We're running a prescribed fire training here in Chico this weekend. Today's the first day, so got a book out. It's prescribed fire season. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is Lookout. My name's Zeke Lunder, and we're doing a refresher training today, and I was thinking that this is it's been 30 years since I took my first refresher. So my specialty has been in mapping during the last 3 decades, working on forest fires, working on large fires, and so now we bring that to you. So let me jump right in. Yesterday the fire was not super active. We're talking about the shoe fire here, and shoe fire is burning between I-5 and Highway 299 north of Redding. So here's I-5, Shasta Lake. Over here is 299. Never mind this. This is just a mess. Talk about that some other time. But we got them Lake Shasta out here. That's kind of like this landscape scale fuel break on the landscape. Pit River, McCloud River, and then in the middle Squaw Creek, which has now got a new name. And I will tell you that when I look it up again. So as we said the other day, the fire is burning kind of along Fender's Ferry Road that goes from Round Mountain over to Lakehead. It's kind of the only big road through there. And it's burning in this matrix of public and private land, the private land shown here in yellow. So the information I have this morning is based on last night's infrared flight, and it's also based on the incident action plan that's available for this fire on the internet. And so basically we've got the fire's broken into 4 divisions: Division Alpha, Division Mike, Division Tango, and Division Zulu. This is always done in the same basic way, where you start at the heel of the fire, the opposite direction of where the fire is mainly headed, and you go counterclockwise starting at A, and you go or clockwise starting at A and counterclockwise starting at Z. That allows you to add divisions as the fire progresses. So if this flank was to stretch out and become longer, you could have Division Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, all the way up to halfway through the alphabet. And then the other way, you could go Zulu, Division Yankee, Division X-Ray. So they'll pick letters in the middle if there's, if they only need 4 divisions, and then they can fill in between them. So what the IAP, Incident Action Plan, has to say about this fire: 4 divisions, and we can see that the fire kind of started off and it ran. Let me just turn on my magic mouse thing here real quick. Fire started off down here off Fender's Ferry Road by Madrone Campground, and it ran. It's been running pretty much to the north, but at the same time it crossed the road on the first day, and it's burning back to the south and east on this flank. So the fire is in pretty complex topography. It's pretty steep out there. And so what was interesting today in the IAP is that Division Alpha is staffed, but Division Mike on the IAP, they're not showing any resources working on this part of the fire. And they don't have a ton of resources on this fire right now. So here's what they've got. Division Alpha is kind of not showing a lot of intense heat. The intense heat is the red, the orange. And so this part of the fire, Division Alpha, they're doing hand line and dozer line up to this ridge, and they've got 3 hotshot crews, so 60 firefighters, and they've got 3 dozers and 2 engines on Division Alpha. So this is kind of messy down in here. Like, so far there's no fire line mapping available, so we don't know exactly where the crews have gone direct and where they haven't. The way this is kind of down in a steep draw, we don't really know what's going on, where the crews are out here. And then this this division comes around and it kind of breaks down here at the creek. So the fire, one of the original objectives was to try to keep the fire from crossing this ridge, but the fire's established and backing down into the creek formerly known as Squaw Creek. And what's that? Let's look it up here. Let's get that right. Sulanharas is the name of the creek now. Sulanharas Creek. Okay. So like I said before, the IAP is showing that Division Mike here is unstaffed. So the fire's kind of backing down into the North Fork of Sulanharas Creek. If they don't get anything built in there, then the fire will cross the main creek and run up here onto this ridge, which is called Curl Ridge. So right now they're scouting to put dozer line in on Curl Ridge, and as you can see there's old dozer line on Curl Ridge probably from hers or Bagley. Bagley rose up here, so this is likely 12-year-old dozer line from Bagley, or a line that they opened back up as contingency line when we had the Hers fire. This was Hers, this was Bagley. These are old fire scars, so let's just turn them off. Look at the fires here. So it seems likely that the fire is going to cross the creek here and run up on Curl Ridge. And like we said before, it's a matter of like timing and how long do they have to prep this line and get it fired before this fire would make a slope-driven run up onto Curl Ridge. Coming around here to the north side, the Division Tango, the division break here runs from the top of this ridge. Actually, this is just a road out here, but we can say that ridge. Over to, this is called Goose Gap. This is where the Fender's Ferry Road zigzags up out of Bear Creek and drops into Sulanharas drainage. And the fire's backing down here. Tells you something that yesterday, the fire was kind of under an inversion, because yesterday the fire could have, if it had had the weather, it would have run this Bear Trap Creek drainage, right? But it hasn't. And like we said, we're in somewhat prescribed fire conditions with the humidity and the inversion, and smoke sat in over the fire for a good portion of yesterday, and we didn't see a lot of air tanker activity on the flight tracker yesterday. Division Tango doesn't have a lot of resources. They've got a falling module and 2 dozers. And so this IAP kind of lays out, this is the plan for the day. So firefighters in the morning, the crew bosses get a copy of this, and this tells you basically like, hey, if you're falling module Volcano Creek, which is 2 guys with some saws, you're going to Division Tango and you're going to provide structure defense, and you're going to look for dozer and indirect line. So not a lot of resources on this division. AirTech has got a plan to, that they were hoping to implement to keep this fire in their box, but they're not getting a lot of airtime because of the smoke. So not a lot of firefighting going on, I think, according to the IAP in Division Tango. It's kind of making its way. But like we said, the fact that the fire's not making big slope-driven runs tells you that they've got some fairly mild burning conditions all in all. And then over here in Division Zulu, which goes from Goose Gap back to Fender's Ferry, we're looking kind of south here. Their objective is to keep the fire south of Brock Butte, which is still quite a ways out. Division Zulu has, what, 2 hotshot crews, 9 engines, and 2 dozers. There's only 2 night shift hotshot crews right now and a private crew. Anyway, so what's our outlook? Outlook, as far as I can tell, if Division Mike is unstaffed, is you're going to get rollout and the fire's going to back down into here. It's going to cross the creek and it's going to make a run up on the Curl Ridge. Right now, it doesn't seem like they've got a lot of resources out prepping. You would think that if they were going to prep and fire Curl Ridge, they'd have quite a few resources. Like we said, there's not a lot of resources to be had right now because there's fires all over the West Coast, planning level 5. October. So it's not kind of out of the question that this fire is going to gobble. Run Curl Ridge back off down this side. You know, if that happens and the weather doesn't, we don't get rain, etc., this fire could eventually burn up to the McCloud River, up to the Hers fire. Probably not a lot of likelihood of it getting past very far into Hers if that does happen, because the 6-year-old burn scar's got a lot of kind of young brush and stuff, but not a lot of deadened down, and I haven't been out there. So, but my guess is that the 6-year-old Hers scar, if this fire does get there, which is not a sure bet, I can't see this fire like doing a bunch in Hers. Bigger concern, I think, from kind of a resource management standpoint, is if it does move up here into the Bagley fire. Like we said, there's not a ton of resources on this north end, but also there's not a ton of, you know, it's just flanking right now. So it doesn't have like this topographic alignment to make a big rapid run like in the next day or so up the canyon. Eventually, if it gets established down in the bottom here, you could have alignment with up canyon winds to move up here towards Bagley. One thing we say is like you can expect what you saw yesterday to happen today if the conditions don't change. And so we're getting a little cooler, supposed to maybe get a little rain. The main thing is that the fire's now 3 square miles, and let me see if I can get the perimeter here. See, it's got 11 miles of perimeter now. And so if you got 11 miles of perimeter and you got 3, 5, maybe 7 or 8 crews, that means each crew's got to cut 1.5 miles of line. In like not super difficult terrain, hotshot crew can produce kind of a max of 1 mile of line a day. So that's just quite a bit of work to get all the way around this thing. So who knows? Might rain. Like we said, this fire, you can tell just kind of by the heat and the rate of spread that it's doing a lot of good work. As far as other resources for us here, I don't have a lot to show you guys. I got to get out and take care of business. Here's our weather summary for this area. You can see that the max temps, it's going to be getting down in the 40s at night. RH here, especially on Sunday, is like 100%, right? So these conditions going up into next week are kind of like fire's not going to barely burn at night with 100% humidity and with a low humidity of, you know, in the 40s. Like we said, this create prescribed fire conditions. That's probably one of the reasons they're not getting a lot of resources here. There's not a lot of resources available, but also it's kind of low priority. This fire is not a huge threat to just about anything except the private timberlands that we're seeing here in yellow. All right. We'll keep you updated. We'll be watching it. Like I said, we're doing prescribed fire training next 3 days, and so I'm going to be pretty occupied with that. But if something major happens here, we'll let you know. Thanks, everyone.